Our brief this afternoon is to outline recent incidents that occurred on our western frontier, western border with Venezuela. As you would recall, there was an incident in February of this year in which armed men on the Venezuelan side of the Cuyuni River fired on a GDF patrol, in which 2 days ago, there was a second incident. This occurred on Tuesday, 13th of May, at around 17 hours, where a patrol departed our location at Itringbang and was traveling to OP Macapá using two of our marine assets. While en route to this location, and I have a good reference, but you would have seen on the orientation brief earlier at Baboon location, armed men opened fire on the patrol using automatic weapons. The patrol, as a first priority, was to protect lives and assets and evade the firing. The patrol returned fire and was able to exit safely along the river heading to OP Macapá. No one was injured. No ranks of the Guyana Defense Force were injured in that particular incident. On Wednesday, at about 14:35 hours, another Guyana Defense Force patrol, this time departed OP Macapá and was going to an area called Blackwater. You would have seen that on the map also. At Baboon again, armed men opened fire on the patrol using automatic weapons. The patrol also returned fire subsequently. No one was injured from our side. 3 hours later, another patrol coming from location Itringbang, while passing the same location, came upon fire, and they returned fire. In the last 48 hours, we would have had 3 such incidents. This is unprecedented. The Guyana Defense Force has, since the first incident, enhanced its operational posture and adopted drills that would mitigate and react whenever such incident occur. These drills were executed with success. I am thankful that no one was injured on our side. Certainly, this has now become a situation in which we will continue to monitor. By our act, the Defense Act, Chapter 1501, we have an obligation as soldiers, members of the Guyana Defense Force, to protect our territorial integrity and our people. This is a mission we take seriously, and we will continue to patrol that same area and to eliminate any threat to our people and any incursion to our territory. Just this afternoon, a patrol was conducted again, but no incident-free, and we will continue to do so. I wish to say that these incidents would have caused some concern along our bordering community. Over the past 2 days, I had the opportunity, and this was planned before, not because of these incidents. I was, matter of fact, in location when the first attack occurred on Tuesday. But I was able to visit 4 locations: Itringbang, Harao, Taikan, and Purima. The community and the villagers in those locations were happy, not scared, but happy that we would have visited those locations. As you would have seen the locations along the border, our locations, there are gaps. Our conduct in those gaps is to patrol by foot and boat, ensuring that we define our borders and ensure that no one is illegally coming across, especially on the border with Venezuela. Moving forward, the Ghana Defense Force will remain vigilant and will continue to patrol the Cuyuni River. If I could refer you back to what Lieutenant Colonel Macaulay would have said, the Cuyuni River originates from Venezuela and empties into the Esequiba. There's a part of the Cuyuni in which the border is formed, and that's 824 kilometers. The Cuyuni reaches the Venemu River and it forms part of the border. And then it exits out of the Cuyuni River to the Akarabisi River and head north. That particular stretch of the Cuyuni River is an important part that we patrol every single day. The community in that area is sparsely populated, with people mostly occupying Ituringban community, we call it, and it's just opposite San Martin, which is located on the Venezuelan side. There are a few other persons who occupy on the Guyana side on the length of that particular part of the Cuyuni River. The location Bagu, that is so commonly called, is isolated from any other civilian occupation. Isolated. Even the gunshots were not being heard by anyone from Macapá, which is just about 20 kilometers away. And there's no other persons living in the vicinity. It's an area that we have noted over the years where these armed men would stop civilian boats and extort monies to traverse the river. You would have seen in the orientation the description of our borders from Ponte Playa to the junction point on Mount Roraima. In that description of the border, it will tell you that the Cuyuni River, where it shares with the border with Venezuela, the whole of the Cuyuni River belongs to Guyana. So we have jurisdiction to patrol, stop, search anyone in that river. Guyana Police Force and our Coast Guard, they have those powers to exercise such searches. I will tell you, we have both the infantry soldiers and Coast Guard currently at the two locations. I want to say on the outset, the living culture of border communities is one in which families would be living on one side and families on the other side. The Ituringban community and the San Martin is an example, a perfect example of it. And our conduct on the river is not just to stop anyone, it's to ensure safety, etc. And no one is hampered in what they do. Secondly, I want to go on record to say the Venezuelan people are peaceful people on the border. The Guyanese people are peaceful people. They're beautiful people. And they do not, in that community, pose a threat. We have police stations, outposts, close to Macapa, and at its ring band. Whenever a crime is committed, the police addresses those incidents. We've had no reason to conduct frequent searches or searches. The current situation now warrants us to do that. And we will identify how and when we will do that.
Sir, bluntly, what should we be prepared for in the event that Venezuela takes it seriously, comes across our border to hold an election? One. Two, this incident happened on the 13th. Why are we hearing about it on the 15th? And were you present when the soldiers were attacked?
I was not present at the location, but I was present several kilometers away.
I'm asking why we're now hearing about it on the 15th. Is there something else we need to know? What else happened that we do not know about?
There's nothing else that occurred. Information such as this has to be assessed and analyzed before we could make it known. This is not a situation in which it happened in country. This is a border. It could lead to other implications. We want to assess the information and have it available. The press release came out last evening, and that would have been just about 5 hours after the last incident. After the first incident on Tuesday, a lot of work had been done, investigating, assessing, etc. It's not a shooting incident like what you would have on a normal street in your country. This is in another territory. So we have to assess before we could comment on it. And we want to ensure that you have the accurate information. Thank you for that question.
The first one, what should we really be prepared for? Venezuela takes it seriously, enters our territory and holds an election.
I will tell you, as part of my visit along the border, I made an announcement that any Guyanese should participate in such an election. There will be implications for that person. This is almost like a passive coup because you're voting in a foreign government to have or cede territory. So that would be a serious offense. Any Guyanese participating in such election will be arrested and there will be implications. Secondly, any Venezuelans living in Guyana participate in such election will be arrested and deported.
What is a measured response?
A measured response, I just told you. If that happens, if they vote,
You said in your press release that your officers took a measured response to being attacked.
That term. A measured response in this particular case points to a prepared and deliberate reaction, meaning that we were anticipating that if it happened before, it could happen again, and we must be prepared. A measured response points to those two particular components: being prepared and being deliberate. Thank you for that.
I guess what I'm asking, did your ranks return back?
I said that.
Okay, thank you.
I said that. Did I say that?
Julia Johnson, Prime News. Just a question. Given your statement that your people on the ground would know things, would you say if these civilians were indeed military people dressed as civilians to provoke a confrontation or provoke a response from Guyana, given Venezuela's posture, we made 2026? And how equipped are our soldiers on the border there, that's in the Cuyuni area, given the fact that we saw the last group that came on the were injured in various parts of their bodies. How are they to protect themselves apart from having weapons to shoot back at the aggressor? And my third question is, what advice would you give residents of the border, Guyanese residents of the border, given Venezuela's?
In your first question, thank you for those three questions. I would tell you, our soldiers are always equipped whenever they conduct their patrols. The expectation of one being fired upon is always there. In the first incident, fire was returned. In the second, was returned. The third and the fourth, same thing. And if you note me saying that in these last three incidents, no one from our side were injured. The residents in the community, I would tell you, because of where they are, there's no major threatening activity that occurred. This particular location, Baboon, is in a part of the river that no one is living within 50 kilometers, I would say. So it's an isolated area that the armed men are using to conduct their activities.
Authority on whether or not these armed men may be very well.
We are still, I'm not going to speculate, but there are many things that we are looking at, assessing.
Good afternoon. Dr. Bradley, to start with you. Can you say how many rounds were involved on Guyana side in this dispute? Also, can you say if any vessels were damaged in the incident? Also, you said that you're conducting investigations. Can you say if the persons who might have opened fire might be syndicatists? I know you stated that you investigate preliminary. Can you say if they're a part of the syndicate now? Also, can you say if those controls they usually have if you're for now?
I think I mentioned that the patrol is continuing. We had one today, but thank you for your question. I do not like to tag people for a particular group. These are armed men in civilian clothing. I would not be able to say or tell you how many persons from our side was on that patrol. Thank you for that.
And on the vessels, were any vessels damaged or involved in the incident?
No.
In light of the account, can you say the GDF has taken any new measures to ensure that servicemen are protected?
There's always a constant of improving and enhancing for every single incident. And that is a work in progress.
Also, can you say if one last question?
You come back to me.
Good evening, Kim King with Guayana. Sir, what can you say about the quantity of troops stationed along the border? And this month, by how much may you have ramped up or intend to ramp up the troops there in anticipation of the planned activity by Venezuela? And what sections of the border would you say may be particularly worrying or are taking greater focus?
In your first question, I know you love Guyana and I thank you for that. In the second one, we share the border with Venezuela. We expect Venezuela not to violate our sovereignty, but we are prepared for any eventuality. And that's why we continue to patrol the entire border.
Chief of Defense, sir, you mentioned about Venezuelans participating in the elections will be deported. What if the Venezuelans are living in Afghanistan and participating in the elections in the Venezuelan side and come back over? How do you deal with that?
So I would tell you, the Guyana Defense Force is not a force of uniform alone. You are part of the Guyana Defense Force. Every citizen, and we have been receiving information from the general public along our border communities in Georgia, across Guyana, of information that we have acted on and will continue to act on. So someone participating in such an election will eventually get to us. But I would ask you, the press, is to promote this. If you love Guyana, and I know you love Guyana, you will help me and the Guyana Defense Force to help you and to help all of us. And that gives you the kind of information to turn left, right, or where to run. If I don't have the information, I don't know where to turn, where to run. And I have to say, our people are beautiful people. I have not had any opportunity to hear a Guyanese say that they don't like Guyana. And I wanted to remain that. So I'm requesting of you, the press, to promote this. Anyone, any information, anyone participating in such election, let us know. We don't want that person among us. We don't ever want that. From our independence to now, 59 years ago, we were, are, and will continue to be a beautiful and peaceful people, all of you. I have an obligation. All my officers, they have an obligation. Once you wear this uniform, we have an answer to you, to the people, and we are dedicated to that. And if I should add, this rank I wear on my shoulder is not an authority over you or the populace. This rank I wear gives me the authority to manage the people under my command and the resources, to optimize and employ it and deploy it, to serve you and protect you. And we can get better if you help me do that.
You have answered the question.
Again?
I don't think you answered the question. I'm asking what will the GDF do if Venezuelans who are living in Guyana go across the border and vote in the elections and return back to Guyana?
Well, we would know. Same thing.
No, what will you know?
Yes. We got knowledge of it. We arrest you and deport you.
Okay.
Yes, Venezuelans, yes. You can't vote in a country of yours and come to our country and believe everything will be okay. No. I think we are peaceful enough to understand that we know where you're coming from, because for whatever reason, and for a betterment in the end.
In light of these recent attacks, the ones yesterday on Tuesday, and then the February 17th attack, are you at all concerned that this is an orchestrated attempt by the Venezuelan government to intimidate Guyana, to push bilateral talks? And at the same time, can you say if the RSS was notified of these ongoing suits?
Thank you for that question. There's a spectrum of opportunities and resources available to us. And partnership is one of it. Every incident that occurs that relates to our border, such as what I just described, the incidents and the details of it are shared with our international partners. RSS is one such partner, regional partner.
And on the intimidation, do you think that Venezuela might be pushing intimidation or trying to intimidate Guyana bilateral conversations?
I wish not to speculate on that. That is not within my realm. But that could be answered by another stakeholder.